Nejire, Mirio, and my boy Tamaki Amajiki back together again. The Big Three reunited. Well, the former Big Three, because, you know. What's up? It's Truth Hero, and welcome back to another My Hero Academia chapter review. So, Boku no Hero Academia chapter 359 of the manga will discuss everything from the business class doing business to Shigaraki's raw strength, and of course, the Big Three at it again. Let's dive in. The chapter opens with the business course actually filming the action taking place in the U.A structure while the heroes repair and fight against Shigaraki. Is this really the right time to be making a documentary film? Yes, and as a YouTuber, I love this. In fact, I'd probably do the same thing if I didn't have any superpowers like them. I'd just grab my camera and say, hey, heroes, you got this, right? You don't need any help? Okay, great. And perfect, right there. I also agree with the business course's methods here. In the previous battle, Dabi used propaganda, where he basically controlled the entire media via Skeptic's help, to paint the heroes in a not-so-good light. So, if the business course can film something and use it to spin a positive narrative on the heroes, not the ones that abandoned their post or left the city in ruin, but the U.A students who are fighting so valiantly against this evil that is Shigaraki, then this is what the world needs to see. I find it kind of surprising that some comic book characters are better journalists than our mainstream media outlets. Good job. And because it's the business course, they can use this as an opportunity to get footage and make hype videos of their classmates, which they can use to then sell the students to do. That doesn't sound good. Market their friends and classmates who are now graduated and adults to various agencies across Japan so that they may sign contracts and become full-fledged professional heroes. Whew. Now, if only they could figure out inflation. We shift to the aftermath of Bakugo's howitzer impact, which has Yaoyorozu and the other students questioning whether or not this U.A stadium structure will hold after the blast. I love this panel of Aizawa struggling to keep Monoma's eyes open, during this blast. That's gotta be rough. I mean, imagine keeping your eyes open during a tornado. Heck, even a windy day. Kaminari actually says something smart for once and analyzes Bakugo, saying he actually tempered his blast, or at least didn't concentrate it as much to ensure the integrity of the structure. He notes that Bakugo has matured, he's smarter, he's come a long way since he was that hot-headed kid. He's ensuring the best for everyone around him, not just his victory against Shigaraki, or the hero's victory, but all his friends fighting to maintain this advantage. Pretty cool. And A+ Kaminari, A+. This is great that Bakugo is maturing as a hero, and I think we can all agree on that. It's a good thing that he's being careful of the damage he causes to maintain the structure and this fight against Shigaraki, and I suppose it's nice practice for when he's fighting villains in crowded residential areas, but it's a bit of a drag that Bakugo actually has to pull his punches against the worst villain here. Admittedly, Shigaraki doesn't look great after this attack, but imagine how much more crispy he could have been had Bakugo not had to concern himself with keeping the structure standing. This also speaks to just how powerful Bakugo has become. Name me another hero who can use a super move besides All Might and Deku, and be at risk of destroying the entire battlefield or city he's currently fighting in. I'll wait. I got time. Unlike me, Shigaraki could care less about Bakugo maturing as a hero, however, and while he admits it was quite the concentrated blast, I'm still standing. Then Shigaraki lunges at Bakugo, bloodying his face and crushing his arm as he grabs it. Number 1, Monoma, you better keep your eyes open. And 2, we just finished discussing how strong Bakugo was. just how strong is Shigaraki? I know Shigaraki's currently wrecking the stadium with the millions of hands and growths that he has, but that's a separate thing we don't fully understand yet, okay? Horikoshi, I want the details, alright? But this was just his right arm grabbing Bakugo's, twisting it, and crushing it like a toothpick. Oh, and in case you forgot, Monoma is doing a good job here, because Shigaraki's not using any strength or power-up quirks. He's not using any quirks at all. How is he this strong? I guess it's safe to assume that whatever crazy evolution or just fantastic nightmare of Charles Darwin Shigaraki is enjoying right now with the millions of hand growths, it also applies to his body and his skeleton. So yeah, good luck, heroes. Going after his real, true body was a good plan. Now you actually have to break this armor. I know Bakugo's in pretty dire straits right now, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and make a prediction here. He's not done in this fight just yet, especially after Deku arrives. He's not gonna let Deku show him up. He's gonna be like, "Where have you been? You're late. I got the first hit in on Shigaraki. Come on, Midoriya. You're slacking." Miruko and the other heroes rush in to save Bakugo and stall Shigaraki so that he can get away, and Shigaraki says, "Listen, did you really think getting to my real body was gonna stop me? Well, here I am." And I gotta say, I think he's right. We saw what happened to Bakugo. I just hope nothing else happens to any of our heroes. Shigaraki then moves his hand and generates a huge shockwave, throwing the heroes back, and begins to approach Bakugo, who is laying on the ground. How is this not a quirk? How is Shigaraki doing this? Also, Horikoshi, please don't do this to us. Please don't take Bakugo away from us. Yet. Now, instead of just killing him right here, which of course Bakugo would still put up a fight, Shigaraki notes that, you could be useful to me in getting inside the mind of young Midoriya. So, what could Shigaraki do to Bakugo here that would cause Deku to not engage him or have trouble fighting Shigaraki? Let me know your theories down below. I'm not sure what really he would do if there was some type of hostage or prisoner situation, but I do know how Bakugo would react. Even though Bakugo wouldn't let Shigaraki just walk all over him, even with the injuries he sustained, I do think Shigaraki, if facing Bakugo one-on-one, at this moment in time, could restrain Bakugo with his millions of hands. However, I think if Deku came to the rescue, Bakugo would want Deku to ignore him and engage Shigaraki and say, "Hey, don't worry about me getting injured, just take care of Shigaraki, I'll be fine." If you remember back to the fight between All For One and All Might, Bakugo realized pretty quickly that he was in All Might's way and had to leave the battlefield so that All Might could use his full power. Luckily, there is an alternative to Bakugo death flags or Deku hurting Bakugo while fighting Shigaraki, or Deku not showing up at all. Which, granted, I know it's a whole ocean away, but pick up the pace, Deku, alright? Tamaki Amajiki wishes he could graduate. He asks the teachers, "Hey, after the war is over, can we graduate?" He wants his ceremony, his cap and gown. And then his anxiety gets the best of him, and he questions, what are our real chances against Shigaraki? Are we actually living this? And just as he falls into despair, we hear Mirio's voice, encouraging his classmates, saying, "Hey, let's just do the very best we can to protect the people here while we wait for Midoriya." Let's go! The big three are back, baby. Tamaki, Nejire, and Mirio. They may not be the most powerful three students in UA anymore, but they're here with their infinite, near graduation wisdom to help the heroes out. And Tamaki, this is your commencement battle. Let's win it and get that cap and gown. So let's discuss the utility of the big three against Shigaraki. And the first thing is, they actually complement each other really well. First on our list is Miss Nejire Hado, who, fortunately for her, can float while she uses her waves, which is extremely helpful in combating Shigaraki's ocean of hands while launching long-range barrages at him. So we have a long-range fighter who doesn't need to touch the ground. Pretty good way to start. Second, we have Tamaki Amajiki, which, I'ma just say right now, is best boy. How amazing would it be if Tamaki was able to eat, or rather consume, part of Shigaraki's ocean of hands and this growth? Could he obtain Shigaraki's evolution, since animals with wings or shells is just part of their biology? Could he rival Shigaraki's power in doing this? Can Tamaki do a little Itadori magic and eat some certainly cursed fingers for the greater good of us all? And yes, I like Jujutsu Kaisen. This would be an amazing growth in Tamaki's quirk and his physical body, and if we know one thing about Tamaki, he can certainly restrain villains. Now, the only downside to this, besides Tamaki getting a little anxiety about consuming a piece of Shigaraki, which I guess is disgusting on its own, is that Shigaraki, with the whole Shigaraki all for one, quirk, essence sharing, mind meld consciousness thing, might be able to control a piece of his body once Tamaki consumes it. So there's a bit of a risk there, but still think it's safer than eating a Tide Pod. Mirio Togata, our third musketeer here, is actually a key piece in fighting Shigaraki, since with his invulnerability he can slip through the ocean of hands protecting Shigaraki's body, and he's able to use close combat on him. In fact, he may be one of the only reliable sources in getting a hit on Shigaraki. Mirio is also a last resort in case Shigaraki gains the ability to use his quirks if Monoma happens to blink. Being invulnerable against someone who decays through physical matter is an amazing advantage, and the heroes certainly need it. And finally, I think it'd just be nice to see this team up among the big three. You have Nejire floating around and firing off waves at Shigaraki, Tamaki taking Shigaraki head on, maybe after consuming a part of him and trying to restrain the villain, and then you have Mirio jumping in and out of existence, basically fighting from the shadows. It'd be really nice to see all three focus on the same villain. We really haven't seen them fight together. They were all present in the Chisaki arc, but they focused on different villains due to their abilities. So now, the big three returns, and they're all together. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. How will the big three fare against Shigaraki? What battle techniques and quirk combinations do you want to see in this fight? And when will Deku finally arrive? Love to hear your theories. If you guys like My Hero Academia content and these chapter reviews, consider enrolling at UA today by subscribing. And until next time, Plus Ultra.